Hey guys, what's up? I'm Greg. I hope you guys are ready to unpack and get into some good conversations today.
And I'm Jess, and this is our podcast, Baggage Claim. Thank you for joining us.
Welcome to Baggage Claim, everybody. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for joining and listening in. If you've been listening to us and hanging with us, thanks for coming back. Tonight is kind of a different night, but before we get into that, wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, maybe if you're at a place where you can grab your favorite drink and pull up to the table with us as we jump into some really fun discussion tonight, because it is different. Jess is in the bed asleep right now, if that tells you anything. She is sound asleep, sound machine on, lights out. This is a guy's night tonight. So she's out, and so we have some guys in. But wherever you're at, grab your favorite drink, pull up to the table, and welcome our guest tonight, which I'm really excited about, is Mason Rosel. And so Mason and I have been friends for how many years now? How long has it been?
I was talking to my kids about that actually before I came up here, and my oldest is 9, and it's longer than that. So
Yes.
10, 11 years.
Yeah, it's probably been on 10 or 11. We met on a retreat, a youth workers retreat. We were just working in student ministry or next gen or whatever you call it.
High school small group leaders.
There you go.
Figuring it out.
And so we went to a retreat. We met each other and we hit it off, and we've been friends ever since.
Yeah.
And so our families have been connected. So Mason, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell wife, kids.
Yeah.
That kind of the fun details.
Yeah. So I joke with friends that I am in the fog of war season of parenting right now. And so I've been married to my beautiful wife, Brandy, for 12 years. We've got 4 kids, 9, 6, 3, and 1, 2 boys and 2 girls. Yeah, it is fun and it's crazy. I've heard people say that this is a season where the days are long, but the years are short.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the years are short part. I'm just in the days are long.
It is kind of crazy. It feels like you're we're never going to get through this. It's like Groundhog Day sometimes. Just
my wife Brandy has said that literally this week, Greg.
It's just like you get up and you do it over and over and over.
It's like the movie, and Bill Murray wakes up and just smashes the alarm clock.
Yes,
Some days getting the kids out of the house feels like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got 4 kids, 2 boys and 2 girls. It's really cool just kind of how the Lord has plans that are different than ours sometimes. And we're foster parents. And so that's kind of a unique spin on our combination of kids. And so our oldest 2 are biological. Our third, we fostered and then adopted him.
Which is adorable.
He is sweet and awesome and crazy as a 3-year-old. And then our youngest, we just started fostering about 2 months ago. Yeah. So, figuring out what 4 looks like, and definitely gives me a lot more respect for you and Jess of making 4 look easy.
Yeah, 4 is like a. What's crazy though is as they get older, when those 4 start bringing their friends over, it multiplies fast.
Yeah,
you lose control really, really quick, and you're like, hold on, wait a minute, we're outnumbered here, way, way outnumbered. So well, that's cool, man. And also too, Collier just did it. She just had your little girl had a. Kind of a fundraiser thing where we bought some cookies. We sampled some before, which were amazing. Good cookies.
So she's slinging chocolate chip cookies now at 9 years old.
To raise money for her school. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so she's having fun with that, and we're having fun, helping her learn and understand business and kind of figuring that out as well. So yeah, that's so fun season of parenting.
It is. So Brandy, does she what does she do for work? Is it just take care of the household, or does she? I know
she's my better half in every sense of the word. I joke that she's got all the skill sets, and I'm in sales for work, and so I just get paid to talk to people.
Right.
But she's a graphic designer and really kind of all things creative. Yeah. She does a really, really good job of that. But right now she's doing a phenomenal job, raising the kids, being an amazing wife. And I'm just doing my best to kind of keep up and not be the weak link in the chain.
And she always has her hands in all kinds of things. It's never just one thing. Like she's like, oh yeah, I was doing this or I was doing that. I think last time we were down there, she's like, oh yeah, I'm doing these other 2 part-time jobs online. And I was like, when? When do you do that?
I said, I'm just trying to keep up, man.
No, I agree. Jess is the better of us.
Yeah.
She's definitely the smarter one.
Yeah.
So
We both married up and out of our league.
that is
For
true.
sure.
That is true.
For sure.
And so it's funny you talk about the fog of things. I was literally having a conversation with Michael, a producer, just tonight, and I was like, bro, I had a weird moment this week. I was like, and it had to do with Lunchables. And he's like, what? And I was like, I was at Kroger.
Were
I
they
went
expired in a weird moment? You're like,
well, I went to
eating some
the
old
old
cheese?
Kroger where we used to shop all the time. Like
Yeah.
we were in the thick of it and so we would sneak off and have a date afternoon, and we would sit at the Starbucks and we'd have coffee. I was like, I went in and I don't know what it was, but I had this nostalgic moment. And I just sat at the table where Jess and I used to have coffee, and I was just sitting there and I was like, man, I really miss this. But I was like, but I don't, like, we're different. And so I get up and I was like, I gotta shop. And so I go shopping, and then I'm getting groceries, and I stop in front of the Lunchables, and I'm just standing there staring at them going, and I know people probably thought I was crazy because I'm just sitting there looking at them, and I was like, this was a weekly discussion for Jess and I because we have 4 kids and they always wanted Lunchables. 3 of them did. Callie did not. And they were so expensive. So we're like, we're not going to buy them this. We'll just make them their own. And we would have this discussion every week. And I was like, I don't know the last time Jess and I have talked about Lunchables. I was like, I can't remember when that is. But I was like, that time went by so fast. And I look at it and I was like, we're different people now.
Mm-hmm.
Like we don't have those same conversations. We don't have those same struggles or hurts. They're different. But at the same time, it's like just life moves and we change. We become different people. We become not in a bad way. We just evolve. You know, you got 4 kids. You are in the fog of war. Like you're at it, man. When you get up in the morning, it's go time.
Yeah.
Kids getting dressed, going to school. So
yeah, sometimes in the morning they come to you before you're ready for the morning too, which is always interesting.
Yes.
I don't know how you and Jess are, but like for Brandy and I, like she's a morning person. She's up in the morning, like at the gym. She knows that she's got to have that like time herself to make sure that she's, figuring out. But it's weird. I feel like I'm getting up earlier and earlier just to like kind of make sure that I'm starting not up against the ropes.
Right. So it's like I get my feet under me before it starts.
Exactly.
Jess gets frustrated at me because when the alarm goes off, I get out of bed and I'm like, woo, let's do it. Let's attack this day. And she's like, mm-mm.
I want to be like you when I grow up.
She's like, I'm going to have coffee and I don't want to talk. I was just like,
I'm more like her.
I don't know how I got that way. But so tonight I want us to talk about something that we, as men, I don't know how many men we have. I know we have some that listen to the podcast. But we're not talking about guns or war or any fun things.
We can.
we may get there. We may get there. Something really cool at some time. But in relationships and in marriage, like we're fixers. So anytime the wife comes to us, we're like, oh, we want to fix that. We always want to fix. And sometimes it's not meant for us to fix. Sometimes it is. But I want us to talk about or think about being proactive in our relationships. And you and I were talking back and forth and texting about, I was like, kind of think of it I think of it in the sense of, Jess or one of them called them the emojis that pop up on your dash when they light up. She's like, oh, look, the engine emoji is on.
Yeah.
What does that mean? I was like, it's usually not a great thing.
Yeah.
And
Don't like that check engine light.
Yeah, it's like and so we have these lights and warning signals that pop off in our car to tell us when something's wrong before something else goes really bad.
Yeah.
So tonight, I want us to kind of dig into and talk about what are those in marriage? What do those look like? And how do you may be like, bro, I have no idea. Okay, so how do we find those? What are those for you and Brandy over the years being married, as long as you have with kids? What are those warning signs that pop up, those things that happen that just kind of say, what's happening? You know, what is there something wrong? Do we need to assess? Do we need to take care of this before? Because sometimes if you ignore those warning signals and just keep going, your car's going to break down. It's not going to work, and it may be too late to fix it. So it's like marriage is the same way. Like, what do we do? How do we fix it? So
I think that that's kind of my initial thought when it comes to those warning signs is you get a heads up, but you don't know how long that heads up is going to be. And so you may have heard that kind of lighthearted phrase around procrastination that if you wait till the last minute, it only takes a minute. That is not the case in my experience with marriage and some of those warning signs.
Yeah.
And so I think what's so tough, depending on, your marriage and just the season of life that you're in, like we're in a season right now that like busyness seems to be just like at our doorstep every single day.
Yeah.
And it's a lot. I'm in my mid-30s, and, it just seems like the demands of work and marriage and kids and like trying to figure it out, if you're religious, like what that looks like in your community, it's like it's all happening all at once.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting, kind of having this epiphany at some point when I was thinking about work. And if I just look at work, my marriage, and being a dad, if I'm giving 100%, air quotes here, to those, that's really only 33% for each, right?
Right.
I would fire myself. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, like I'm giving it all to my marriage, which is 33%.
Yeah.
Like,
if you told Brandy, like, hey, babe, I'm going to give you 33%
you get
this
every
week.
bit of my 33%. Yeah. Hard pass.
Yeah.
Hard pass on that.
You're like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I think about that, I think the main thing, and you already said it, it's like you need to be aware of it. And, I think as sometimes we fall into the temptation of just like getting into a rhythm of life where it's really just like a fire drill activity or a triage situation. So whatever is like the loudest or the most in our face, that's what gets our attention.
Right.
And you've got to go back, especially when you throw kids and other just competing demands in the mix, in my opinion. And I'm, by the way, for listeners or just for our relationship, like I'm not saying I gotta have this right. This is just what my dumb self fumbling through it for 12 years of marriage, it looks like. You need to make sure that you remember like where the marriage needs to sit.
Yeah.
And I've heard you guys talk on the podcast and even just as friends before about like not falling into the temptation or trap of like allowing your kids to be put first and foremost over the marriage.
Yeah.
And your kids were probably way better at this, but my kids are loud, Greg. It's like,
have you been around mine?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dad. It's like, stop.
Yeah.
And
can I have 5 minutes where you don't say my name?
Yeah.
Where you don't say that?
And depending on how you're wired, if you're an extrovert, introvert, like, some of us, my wife needs some space and some time with like quiet to, to decompress. And so anyway, I'm talking about this in a roundabout way, but the idea is that like, for me, I need to be like my best self and be aware of those warning signs. Like I need to make sure that I'm still looking at the dash.
Yep.
And not just looking around in the car and like just figuring out like, hey guys, here's a snack. Like be aware of those things.
Yeah.
And don't think that someone else is going to like address those or it'll just take care of itself.
So how do you and Brandy with your crazy schedules? Yeah. And you guys are different. It's so crazy because your wife is so much like my wife. And you and I are so much alike. So when we get together, it's really easy to hang out because they kind of connect to themselves and we do. And we're kind of that sales, we'll just talk to anybody. Yeah. And so we're just over there yapping and they just maybe just sitting just quietly, just hanging out together. Yeah. And enjoying every minute of it.
Exactly.
How do you guys in the moment, being different people, the schedules, the craziness, the work, how do you find time or where are you finding time just to have that moment of quiet peace together? Like where have you guys found a solution yet or are you still looking for it?
I don't think in the season of life that I'm in, you'll just organically find time.
Right.
So it's the make time approach.
Yep.
Something that has been a priority for us, but has not always been followed through with actions, but something that just, transparently I'm trying to get better at is making that time for the date nights. Date nights are not a cure, but if you're not having them regularly, I've found, especially if you're someone like me that's like married their opposite, personality type and whatnot, you can kind of get in this position where you're almost like ships passing in the night. And I think kind of jumping ahead a little bit of like a warning sign that I was thinking about before we talked was like, you don't want to be in a situation, or I don't want to be in a situation in my marriage where I'm like, I feel like I'm coworkers with my spouse. And it's like, you handle this, I handle that. But there's almost like an unhealthy level of independence. Between the two of you.
You become roommates.
Yeah. And it's like you don't need me for this.
Yeah, we're just
I've got it.
Yeah.
Type thing.
Yeah.
And so those date nights have been really life-giving for us because it's allowed us to like take the time to kind of reconnect. Sometimes you guys sit there for a little bit and just be like, what the heck is going on this week?
Yeah.
you know?
And then also too, because what was crazy for that is like, I think the intentionality is so key in marriage and in any relationship. Like if you're not intentional with your time, it's going to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And it's not going to go where you want it to go. But I think even then, like being intentional, even in your conversations, like we've done that. We go on a date and we're just like, man, wow, what a week. It's like, okay, we're going to spend the next 20 minutes. We're not going to talk about kids. Don't say a kid's name. Let's talk about, I want to talk about you. I want to hear about you. I want to hear about something for you. Like, tell me something you've been thinking about. Tell me something that's going on with you right now. Because it's easy when you have 4 kids and they are wanting your time. It's easy to be so focused on that becomes, even on a date night. Hey, we spent our entire date night together and we talked about our kids the whole time. And it's not bad. I'm not saying it's a terrible thing, but I'm just saying if you're not intentional about spending some quality time with your spouse, talking to her about what she's after, what she's going through, you're never going to see those warning signs. You're not going to, because you may hear them through something that she says. And so it's just being able to just listen and be intentional with that. So
maybe another way of putting that, and I agree, is just that idea that your spouse is more than maybe the role that they're playing right now in your marriage. And so there will come a time, and I've heard you guys talk about it, and you're experiencing this now, right?
Yeah.
Where the kids, if you've done your job well, will move up and out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so you don't have to have kids. You know, if you're listening to this and you don't have kids, you know, maybe it's work that has kind of become that just all-consuming busyness.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you're not intentional about it, like you said, it can just kind of creep in. But the idea is, for me, and again, I don't do this well all the time. I'm trying to figure this out. But if I'm not careful, the easy thing to be is talk about how crazy the kids are or how crazy work is, like whatever. But that's not the reason you got married to your wife or your husband.
Yeah, because they're going to leave. Yeah, they're going to leave.
The kids will go, the job will change,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that project you're working on will come to completion or, you know, whatever. But trying to figure out a way that's like you can know the person. And so I think the date nights are important. We've also, this is something it's harder to do, but we have done a good job of this. It's obviously much less regular, but I would say probably once a year we've taken a kid-free trip. And we have been so fortunate to have like parents or friends or whatever like help out and make that a reality.
Yeah.
And those are the times, because like for me, you know, a 2-hour date night, you might not be able to like get past the brain fog.
Right. Yeah.
But we've laughed at the fact that like if we drive down to the beach and like where we live is, you know, 5 to 6 hours to the beach, right?
Yeah.
In that drive, when there are not kids constantly just berating you with questions of where, you know, are we there yet? I'm hungry, I've got to pee, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
You have some of the deepest conversations that we didn't have since we were dating.
Right.
Back in the day. So that's been another like just practical. Again, when you see some of those warning signs, like these are things to alleviate that. But we can talk more about whatever.
What's even fun too, like I remember the very first trip we went on, we call it an adult trip, that we went to the beach with like 4 or 5 other couples once a year. They were in a big house. We would all go. I remember we get up in the morning and I just look at Jess and be like, hey, I got your stuff to the beach. She's like, no, I can take it. But I'm used to going with all the kids carrying like wagons.
The pack mule.
Yeah.
The job
like,
of every day.
Everything. And I was like, oh, I can tote your chair. Like, that's not a big deal. And it was just so crazy to go and be like, set 2 chairs up and be like, okay, so now what do I do? Like, what do we do now? Like, we just hang out? Like, what do we just hang? And so it was really fun, but so refreshing. I would say anything you can do, that's a huge plus in marriage, is to take some time and just go be with them. Yeah. Whether it's the beach, whether it's the mountains, whatever that looks like for you guys. I agree.
I think the destination is an afterthought.
It doesn't really matter.
You can just drive.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just that time to reconnect and to kind of re-find yourself as a couple and individually, and just like, you know, clear the brain fog that happens from just the Groundhog Day routine that we find ourselves in.
Because you're going to have that Lunchable moment too one day.
Yeah.
You're going to be standing at Kroger going, when's the last time we talked about that? When's the last time I did that? And so it's when you look back on it, it's so different from when you're in it. Like you're in it and you're like, I'm not thinking about that. Does everybody have food?
Yeah.
Like, is everybody eating lunch? Like, is lunch paid? Like, are we all good? So it's hard. I realize and understand it's really hard to just not even hit the brakes, but just take your foot off the gas pedal for a minute and just be like, all right, maybe we don't have to run wide open all the time. But, I get that it's hard. So finding it, I agree. I don't think you find it. I think you have to decide and make that intention to go get it. Like, where's that time? Where's this stuff? Let's go get it.
Yeah.
So
100%, man.
all right. So tell me, if I was just saying for you guys, man, what's one thing in the 11 years, 4 kids, what's been one of those things that's been like, dude, if I've known this from the beginning, I would have been implementing this in my relationship or my marriage. Do you have one of those kind of nuggets that's there to just be like, bro, this is something that I wish I would have done all along?
Yeah, that's such a great question, Greg. So for us, and again, let me just be clear. If any personality test you take, Brandy and I are opposites. Like, does not matter. We have done them all. And it's just like, she could just take them and I would say, okay, what's the opposite quadrant? That's me, right? Save you some time, babe.
Yeah, I'm on the other side.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you're familiar with the love languages,
yep.
That is something that I wish that I knew about.
What are yours?
So if you're not familiar with the love languages, it's just kind of this idea, and you can add color and context. So this is very high level. But just the idea that there are different ways that we give and receive love. Yep. And the way that I would explain it in a marriage is there are certain things that when they are given to you, really fill your bucket up.
Yeah.
Where you're just like, you got the confidence, you got the, wind at your back, like, this is awesome. And then there are other things that it's just like, man, nice to have. Right. I think at the end of the day, we need all of them, but there are definitely ones that are leaders in just the way that we're wired that make a big difference.
So you got words of affirmation.
Acts of service. Gifts.
And
physical touch. And quality time. There's 5.
Gotcha. Yep.
And so for myself, my number 1 is words of affirmation. My number 2 is physical touch. For Brandy, her number 1 is acts of service, and her number 2 is gifts. So yet another assessment where we're opposites.
There you go.
Here's the interesting thing that I wish I would have known and has really been like an eye-opener for me. You need to know where your spouse kind of falls in that type of environment.
Yeah.
And you need to make sure that you're proactive at giving love in that way.
Right.
Well, duh, Mason, that makes sense. But if it's not your go-to, when the busyness creeps in, when work gets crazy, when the kids are noisy and the ball schedule's insane, you're going to revert to the way that you give and receive love.
Yeah.
So I'm going to tell her, because I'm words of affirmation, you're such a good mom. Mm-hmm. You look beautiful today. Yeah. I'm so proud of you for blah, blah. That's like, womp, womp. Nice to have for
whatever.
her. Will you freaking load the dishwasher, man?
Yeah.
It'd be great if you do the laundry.
Right.
But that does not come naturally to me, and it's not something that I'm thinking about naturally because it's not how I receive love.
Right.
And so someone much wiser than me said that a healthy marriage is like a race to the back of the line where you're trying to serve the other person. And, biblically we talk about the fact that you don't keep record, know, which I think is very sound advice for marriage.
Right.
And so when it comes to love languages and things like that, it's what can I do and how can I be proactive to, in my case, doing acts of service for Brandy that shows her what I would want to be told about me in a way, how I'd want to be affirmed.
Yeah.
But the way that I serve and the way that I'm and here's the kicker, and marriage is hard, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's not easy for me to do because it's not my natural thing. But if I would have known that in year 2, 3, 4, or 5 of marriage, I would have probably de-escalated a lot of tense situations where I'm just why are we so short with each other? What's going on?
Yeah, why are you mad?
Yeah.
What's going on? Yeah.
As guys, as we try to solve that ever-changing Rubik's Cube that is our wives, that was something that was really helpful for me.
Yeah, because you're trying to figure out your wife. She's just like, how do you not know this?
Yeah.
Jess's is words of affirmation and gifts.
Okay.
And she always just laughs and she goes, just tell me I'm pretty and give me something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And I forget.
You got an easy one on your hands.
I forget that from time to time but then just today she sends me a text. It's just this incredibly sweet, thoughtful text about our relationship. And it's just unprovoked. I'm literally sitting on a bathtub, recalking this bathtub. So I'm digging this nasty crap. And she sends this text. I'm like, man, the first thing went through my mind was like, oh, that's so sweet. And I was like, that's her love language. And I was like, crap, I haven't been doing a good job at that.
Yeah.
So immediately went to, I need to do more of that for her because
Right.
that's what she hears. That's what she feels. That's what she connects with.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's an interesting point. And I think something like as guys, as we're trying to solve, I joke with the Rubik's Cube, but trying to solve it is like, how can we do a better job of like being aware of it and taking the first step? Because if we're not going to keep record, then it doesn't matter who like acts first, but it kind of does. Like, let's be the ones that like
Right.
start that.
Right.
And that's where I'm often dropping the ball.
Yeah. And it wasn't like a bad thing, like just like, oh, crap. I beat myself up a lot of times because well, even for us, we just get busy in life. I mean, even without kids, you're going to find something to fill your time. Like you will. If it's not kids, it'll be work. It'll be something else. So it's almost like you're going to find it. So even once they go, like if you're saying, I can't do it now because I have kids, you're not going to do it when you don't have kids either.
Yeah.
So it's one of those steps like take it now and do that and figure it out. And so I think that's good. I think it's good stuff. Wow. It's not easy because it's a relationship and relationships at work.
Yeah. Have you heard that? I think it's a Maxwell quote. It's something to the effect of like the things that are most worthwhile are uphill.
Yeah. Actually, we talked about that in a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
I heard
I probably just butchered the quote, but that's my mindset of marriage.
I heard and because when I worked at 12 Stone, we would hear Maxwell like all the time.
Oh yeah.
He would do, and so but he said that was one quote he said to me that not to me personally, but we're in a small group and he said that and I was just like, oh, that's so true. Like everything worthwhile is uphill. He's like, because then he said the analogy, he goes, tell me something you've done that was easy. And I was like, He's like, okay, now tell me something you did that was really hard and challenging. And I was like, oh, I had like 3 things pop in my head. He goes, see, you don't remember those.
Yeah.
The easy things, you're just like, oh yeah, I don't remember that.
Right.
And so it's so true. But all right, well, man, love languages. It's a good one. It's been around forever too. There's a book out there. Who wrote that book? Who was it?
Is it Gary
It's Gary
Chapman?
something.
Gary Chapman.
Yes, it may be. Just type in 5 love languages.
Yeah, fact check me on that.
Amazon.
I didn't come prepared with my notes. Yeah, right on my arm.
Yeah. Hop on Amazon and type in 5 love languages. There's probably like workbooks upon workbooks.
Yeah.
And you can probably, but it's pretty simple. It's not. Jess got mad at me because we took the test and mine came back and I scored the same on every single one of them. And she got so frustrated with me. She goes, just pick. She goes, why can't you just pick one? And I was like, babe, that's easy. Just do any of those 5 things and I'll be happy. And she's like, I don't believe that. I was like, oh, there are certain things that I gravitate to more, but I'm just like, yeah, I'm not a words of affirmation. That's not huge on my list. Or I'm not a gifts guy. So it's like.
So it is different from her.
It is different from her because I'm like, you don't have to tell me, how great I am. I guess I was like, but you don't have to buy me anything. Like I don't ever buy myself, but she buys me things often.
Yeah.
She bought me something not long ago, and she goes, I thought you would like that, and I was like, I actually do. It was a golf hat with Bigfoot golfing.
That sounds like you, man.
Yeah, I was like, I should really like that hat. Thank you. And so, but I would never buy it for myself. But so she knows that. So it's the whole. Knowing, it's not just knowing. I think that's the crazy part too, even about personality tests. People take the personality test and they want to say, know who you are. And I was like, that's good. But the better part is knowing the person that you're with in a relationship, knowing who they are, how they operate, how they work. Because when you're communicating with them or you're doing life with them, like knowing how they work makes a huge difference because you see everything through your lens, not through theirs.
Yeah.
And so being able to flip that. So
I think with that too, something that I have struggled with and like even just in this season trying to figure out and articulate like what's the root issue that I'm trying to like move away from. But knowing your spouse, just like any relationship, takes work. It's not like a static point in time. And knowing what they need and like, deepening that is so important.
Yeah.
And such a worthwhile pursuit.
Yeah.
But one of the ugly sides of busyness that we allow to creep in also is that lack of margin. And people's brains work in different ways. But like for me, if I don't have enough margin to kind of have that mental bandwidth to like pivot and think about that. It's like my brain is just jumping to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. And I miss some of those probably like really small, but those small things become cumulative opportunities to have the time to like pursue her and like figure that out and see those warning signs. And so that's where it's, just kind of trying to be accountable. Like for me, it's like, well, you see the light on the dashboard, but how long has it been on?
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah. Have I just not noticed it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And am I living my life in a way that like I'm able to react to it pretty immediately?
Right.
Or is it like, oh shoot, it's on, but like I'm going 80 miles an hour down the freeway and I can't exit right now.
Yeah. No, I agree. You made a statement. Oh, go ahead. You want to say something, Mike?
Yeah, no, I had a question for you. Just as far as you're talking about, in the craziness, the busyness of life, it can be hard to remember these things, so how do you prep for that? Whether it be prep or whether it be a working on yourself to have a mental shift to be able to think of it more just naturally. But for listeners who either one feel like they're in that busyness of life, they're not aware that they're missing working on whether it be love languages or being that initiating thing to their spouse.
Yeah.
What do you take that helps you be consistent in that? Like anything from prep work to setting reminders on your phone or whatever that is for you.
Yeah, that's a great question, Michael. So as I go through more life, I become keenly aware of the way that I'm wired and the strengths and weaknesses of that. And so I married someone who's very organized and I'm not. And so the practical things that I do that have been helpful, I'm in the business world. And so I live and die kind of by the calendar. And so I hate this term, but like I calendarize things in like our relationship also and like reminders and things to like check in and follow up on. Gifts being important to Brandy, and Brandy celebrates people so well. And so I feel this like pressure build every time it was like Mother's Day or an anniversary. I'm like, I'm going to fumble, fumble again. And so in my notes, in my phone, I have like tried to be a better listener and pay attention. Her birthday is in October, and she might drop hints in March. But if I don't write those down in March, October's going to come and I'm going to freak out and I'm going to be that lame gift card husband where it's like, I love you. But it's like, gift cards doesn't say that, buddy.
Right.
And so those are some practical things that I do. And then I think the other thing that is just like, I've had to kind of take a long look in the mirror is how many like business or professional or networking or whatever things have I like said yes to quickly versus like, how hard do I find it to schedule a date night? And that's something where it's like, tough love to myself, but like my priorities might be out of whack there. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, yeah, as guys, that's always a struggle. I feel like that's a struggle for every dude out there who's listening because sometimes it's so easy just to throw yourself into work. Yeah. And that becomes our identity. So many times it just becomes who we are. And that's not even, we're way, way more than that. Yeah. But it just becomes the natural thing. We're like, no, I can do that. I'm going to do that well. And we just throw ourselves into it. It's like, bro, that's not the answer. Maybe like, we were just talking about, I was like, dude, I think it's my whole moment at Kroger the other day just made me really just kind of stop and look at and kind of think and reflect. And I was like, they're so important for people, for men. I was like, I would encourage someone, take time, get away and just, maybe if it's even like a few days or a day or whatever, and just maybe sit in some space, some quietness. Like, don't have your phone. Maybe go out. I connect outside. So it's like, go outside somewhere, sit down, maybe get a pen and pencil and just, I know that's crazy, but I was like, figure out what do you want to be about? Like, what do you want your life to look like? What do you want your family to look like? Is it about a job? Do you want to make money? Do you want to be like, what is it you're chasing? What do you want to be about? And then go be focused on doing that when you leave. Like if it's and then create space in your life. Like
let your
calendar around it.
Yeah, your calendar and your priorities and what you say yes and no to reflect that.
Because the reality is, if you're honest with yourself and you look at your life right now, your calendar and your checkbook are going to tell you what's important to you. And so it's like looking at those things and taking a step back and go, what do I really want to be about? Because you're going to turn around, blink, and you're going to be 15 years down the road. You're going to be 10 years down the road. And you're like, wait a minute.
Right.
Like, what happened to the last 10 years? Did I get done what I wanted to do? Did I get to pour into my kids what I want to pour into them?
Or
and
did I
then
just
spend
show
time with
up
life?
10
Yeah.
years later?
Yeah.
I think that so I joked kind of at the beginning of the episode about like the fog of war. I've had conversations with a lot of guys that are in kind of that mid 30s, mid 40s like range right now. And I think we've talked about this before, but I was a part of this group, like a discipleship group that did a really cool exercise where it was this whole idea of like writing your own eulogy.
Mm.
And if you're thinking about working backwards from like, what do you want said at the end?
Mm.
And who do you want to be in the room?
Mm. Yeah.
Saying what? And that real and tangible pressure that I feel sitting here at 35 is I feel like everything is hard all at once. It's all worthwhile, blah, blah, blah. But this is the make or break season.
Yeah.
And so like I love that we're talking about the warning lights, but I think kind of like as a takeaway or challenge for all of us as men, it's like it's easy to say, it's hard to do.
Yeah.
And so figuring out, like, to your point, what are those things that we can work backwards from to make sure that we arrive to the destination that we want to, and not just show up like on the side of the road somewhere. We're like, well, that was weird.
Yeah.
That's quite a ride.
What happened there?
Yeah.
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 Well, it's the same. I told Jess, I was like, I got a text from Thomas. He was like, what are you doing? I was up late last night, and he works at the fire station. So he's like up sometimes in the middle of the night, and he texts me and he's like, what are you doing Thursday? And I have a job that I'm working on remodeling some of a house, and I really need to be there working. And I was like, I'm not really sure what you got planned. He goes, you want to go dove hunting? Because we baited a dove field on some family land. He and I did a couple weeks back, and this past Saturday was opening, and we didn't go because we just didn't. We watched football and hung out. And he's like, you want to go dove hunting? And I was like, it took me a minute. I thought about it. I was like, man, I really need to do this job. I need to work. And I was like, absolutely, I'd love to go. And I'm like, that job will be there. And I was like, how many more times am I going to get the opportunity to go say yes to that? Yeah. How many more times is he going to ask me to go do that? And I'm like, so yeah, I'm going to say yes to that. Yeah. Like, it's going to cost me, but in my mind, I feel
it's
like
worth the cost.
Yeah, that cost
is
like
absolutely worth the cost.
That's an easy payoff. And we're going to have a blast. We're going to shoot some guns. Yeah. So we're going to have fun in the process. So it's like, yeah, absolutely. So I think there's always that. Well, we're at a point where we're 35 minutes in. I don't want to cut us off. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of, again, it's different, it's a podcast. We can do whatever the heck we want to. So we're going to take
the Wild West out here.
Yeah. We're just doing it as we go.
Shooting from the hip.
Jess is going to be like, what in the world?
Why did you let him on the podcast?
Yeah, she's going to be
We're on this upward trajectory.
And she goes, y'all didn't have notes and you didn't follow the notebook. That's what's wrong.
This was my nightmare.
Yeah. So we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back in, and we may do a part 2, or it may be just a really extended one, but we're just going to take a break and then jump back into this conversation. So if you want to hear more of it, you can catch the next one. But are you good with that? Are we good with that?
Yeah,
can we do
good.
that? Yeah, I guess we can do whatever we want. So,
yeah.
All right.
You're the boss.
Thanks, guys. And catch us to hear the end of this as we jump back into some more really cool guy stuff. Thanks for listening.